Imagine turning your passion into a thriving business in the Empire State. Wondering how to get started? Well, welcome to your ultimate explainer on forming an LLC right here in New York. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this today. We're going to take what honestly often feels like a massive, intimidating bureaucratic mountain, and we're going to turn it into a clear, step-by-step stroll. So here's our roadmap for today. We're covering LLC basics and benefits, naming and registered agents, filing your articles of organization, the operating agreement and publication rules, and finally, taxes, EIN, and ongoing compliance. Just 5 easy-to-follow steps. All right, let's jump right into Section 1, LLC Basics and Benefits. So before we get into the how, we need to establish the what. What actually is an LLC? It stands for Limited Liability Company, and it's basically a brilliant hybrid. It gives you corporate-style protection, but with the flexibility of a partnership. The absolute most crucial element here is the shield. An LLC acts as a legal barrier between your business and your personal life. So if your business ever runs into debts or lawsuits, your personal assets, your home, your car, your savings, are generally totally protected. It's that peace of mind literally every entrepreneur needs.
Moving right along to Section 2, naming and registered agents.
Okay, before you do anything else, you have to make sure your desired business name is actually available. If you skip this, your application's going to get rejected and you'll just waste time and money. The process is super straightforward using the free New York Department of State's Business Entity Database. And here's a quick pro tip for you. Select the base word search functionality and check Limited Liability Company for the absolute best results. Don't search your exact full name right off the bat. Use a base word just to see if anything deceptively similar is already registered.
You also have a few strict naming rules to follow. Your name absolutely must contain a proper suffix, like LLC or Limited Liability Company. It also has to be completely distinguishable from existing entities. And keep in mind, if you want to use restricted words like bank, trust, or mortgage, you're going to need special approval from the Department of Financial Services. Now, if you found the perfect name, but you're just not quite ready to file your paperwork yet, you do have an option. You can actually reserve that name for 60 days for a small $20 fee.
Next up, we need to talk about registered agents. And New York has a really unique quirk here. In most states, you have to hunt down and appoint a registered agent yourself. Not in New York. Here, the Secretary of State automatically serves as the mandatory default agent for every single LLC. Legal papers go to Albany first, and then they forward them to you. However, you can optionally hire a commercial registered agent. Why would you pay, say, $100 a year to do that? Basically, privacy and speed. A commercial agent keeps your personal home address off the public record, and they receive legal notices directly and immediately, rather than you having to wait for the state mail routing.
That brings us to Section 3, filing articles of organization.
$200. Go ahead and anchor that number in your mind right now. That is the mandatory state filing fee to submit your articles of organization to the New York Division of Corporations. Standard processing can take a bit of time, so if you're in a rush, they do offer expediting options. Those range from $25 for 24-hour processing all the way up to $150 if you literally need it done in just 2 hours.
So what exactly goes on this form? Well, you'll need the exact LLC name we just verified, the service of process address, and an organizer's signature. But look closely at that county location bullet point. This is a massive trap that routinely catches beginners off guard. The county you list as your principal office directly dictates your future newspaper publication costs, which we are literally about to discuss. A county like Albany might be super cheap, while Manhattan, that could cost you well over $1,000 in publishing fees. So always list the county where your office is actually located.
Which transitions us perfectly into Section 4, Operating Agreement and Publication. Unlike the vast majority of states where operating agreements are basically just highly recommended, New York LLC Law Section 417 legally mandates that you adopt a written operating agreement. This internal document is absolutely crucial. It dictates your management structure, your profit sharing, and your voting rights. If you don't draft one, New York's default statutory rules just take over your business. And even worse, it weakens that very liability shield we talked about back in Step 1. Okay, so once you file, you're on a strict timeline. Day 1 is when you file those articles of organization. By day 90, you must have adopted that written operating agreement. And by day 120, you have to hit the deadline for your certificate of publication. Let's break down exactly what that day 120 requirement means, because it's a big one. So New York has this somewhat archaic but completely mandatory publication law. Within 120 days of formation, you have to publish a notice of your new LLC in 2 different newspapers designated by your county clerk.
It has to be one daily paper and one weekly paper, and it has to run for 6 consecutive weeks. I know, it sounds super old school, but once that's done, the newspapers give you affidavits and you submit those with a certificate of publication and a $50 fee to the state. Please, whatever you do, do not skip this. Failing to file the certificate within 120 days actually suspends your LLC's authority to carry on business in New York.
Finally, we've reached Section 5, Taxes, EIN, and Compliance. So you've built the car, now let's get the license plates. Your very next step is to obtain an Employer Identification Number, or EIN. Think of this as basically a social security number for your business. And the best part? It's completely free on the IRS website and takes literally just a few minutes. You are absolutely going to need this to open a business bank account, hire employees, and properly separate your personal finances from your business finances.
All right, let's talk taxes. While LLCs generally enjoy pass-through taxation, meaning the business itself isn't taxed on a federal corporate level, the profits just pass through to your personal tax return, New York State does impose a variable annual filing fee, and this is based on your New York source gross income. So even if you're a single-member LLC just starting out or you literally have zero income, there's still a minimum annual fee of $25. And depending on your income tier, that fee can scale all the way up to $4,500.
But beyond that annual tax fee, keeping your LLC compliant is honestly pretty manageable. First, you just need to file a biennial statement every 2 years. And the fee for that is incredibly cheap, literally just $9. Second, and this is a major one for new businesses, if you're forming an LLC in 2026 or beyond, you have to comply with the New York Transparency Act by filing a beneficial ownership report within 30 days of formation. And lastly, just always make sure you obtain any specific industry licenses or permits that your particular trade requires.
Okay, before we wrap this all up, just a quick professional disclaimer. This explainer is absolutely designed to be educational and to give you a really robust framework. However, the New York Department of State cannot offer legal advice, and neither can we. I strongly advise you to consult with a business attorney or a CPA to tailor these evergreen rules to your highly specific personal and financial situation. And there you have it. We've navigated the rules, the weird quirks, the fees, and all the timelines. You now have the ultimate roadmap laid out right in front of you. So the only question left is, are you ready to take that first step and build your Empire State business legacy today? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and best of luck out there on your entrepreneurial journey.